You are listening to a story on Love Revenge Stories. Wish you an enjoyable listening experience. Everything happened right at the Stone Corporation anniversary celebration. Where the stage lights should have illuminated glory, it instead became a theater for a carefully orchestrated tragedy, a cheap circus act. Hundreds of pairs of eyes watched as I was kicked down onto the cold marble floor. Fresh blood flowing from the corner of my mouth, the metallic smell thick and pervasive. But to those people, it was just seasoning to add drama to their free entertainment. The reason was simple enough. Stella Hayes, Lucas Stone's Moonlight, was standing on stage, lips curved in a smile, voice sweet as honey, but each word was poison. "Oh my, Sister Sophia. Don't be so tense." She deliberately mimicked my speech pattern, dragging out each word in that strange, mocking way like playing a terrible clown in a circus act. Laughter rippled through the audience below, starting hesitant, then growing into waves of malicious delight. "I know Sister's speech isn't very fluent," Stella continued, covering her mouth with a graceful gesture. "But since you're already Mrs. Stone, you should at least say a few words on stage, or people might say your husband married an idiot." The words "idiot" fell like a sharp blade, and she deliberately emphasized them, her eyes sweeping around to make sure the entire hall didn't miss this moment. Laughter erupted, spreading like a plague, with some people even casually pulling out phones to film, capturing a live tragicomedy more vivid than any performance on earth. I took a deep breath, my hands trembling slightly but still managed to speak. "Stella, please show some respect." Hatefully, the more nervous I became, the more my words stumbled, as if I was taking a hammer to my own dignity. And naturally, she didn't let the opportunity pass. "Oh heavens, I'm not being disrespectful. I just feel that Director Stone marrying someone who can't even speak clearly is truly unfortunate." Whispers rose from the audience below. "So the CEO's wife really does stutter. No wonder we never see her at public events. Not suitable at all." "Stella is the one who's truly suitable, an overseas graduate who speaks multiple languages. I heard this Sophia Chen didn't even attend university." Each sentence, each laugh was like hundreds of needles piercing straight into my flesh. I pursed my lips. "Nuff, slap." The crisp sound of the slap rang out, so decisive that the entire hall fell silent for half a beat. My palm burned, Stella's cheek flushed red. She covered her face, tears immediately streaming down like a flood. "Lucas." Her pitiful voice rang out, sweet as bait. And naturally, Lucas Stone, the man who had shared a bed with me for 3 years, charged straight onto the stage. In that moment, I still naively hoped that at least he would ask if I was hurt. At least he would remember the promise he'd made 1,000 times to protect me for life. At least this morning he had kissed my forehead, saying he had a surprise for me tonight. What a surprise indeed. The kick landed straight in my stomach. So hard it felt like my organs were exploding. I flew backward, hitting the ground hard, blood pouring out, staining the white marble floor red. I looked at him, my eyes full of horror. But Lucas was only cold, his gaze indifferent to the point of cruelty. "Sorry Stella," he knelt down. "She has no right to cause trouble for you." So a legally wedded wife wasn't worth a single tear from his moonlight. My self-respect was apparently cheaper than that pitiful whimper. The entire hall fell silent, but this silence wasn't sympathy, it was fascination. All of them, those people sitting in the audience below, were watching a good show, and I was the most pathetic clown character. Lucas bent down, gently helping Stella up, wiping her tears, his voice so sweet it made me sick. "It's okay, I'll take you to the hospital. Don't cry, I know you meant no harm." She sniffled and nestled into his chest, delicate as a pure blossom in the rain. I just wanted to lighten the mood a little." "I know. Don't blame yourself, she went too far." She was me, the legal wife, the person who had spent 3 years of marriage with him. I lay on the ground, blood filling my mouth, my stomach aching in waves of cramping pain, but not a single person reached out to help me, not one. Only laughter, prying eyes, and an obvious truth laid bare. I, Sophia, had become a pawn for them to perform a play of deep affection together. No one bothered to ask if I was in pain. Not a single arm reached out. Among hundreds of watching eyes, I was like a discarded puppet. I struggled to prop myself up, but my whole body was weak, every bone felt drained of strength, the cold from the stone floor seeping into my flesh, chilling me to the bone. Just then, my eyes caught sight of my purse that had been thrown nearby. Inside was a document, specifically a divorce petition. Originally, I had planned to wait until after the ceremony to find an appropriate moment to sit down and discuss it calmly with him. I had thought I would say my final words in silence. But dear heavens, the gods had given me such a perfect stage. The entire hall was eager for drama. Well then, I would give them one final act. I forced myself up with all my strength, pulling the paper from my bag, my fingers trembling but each movement clear. I opened it to the page for Lucas Stone's signature. He turned around, his eyes impatient as if I were a burden. Realized your mistake, then kneel down and apologize to Stella, she'll be merciful and forgive you. I burst out laughing until tears rolled down, but this laughter wasn't from weakness but mockery down to the bone. Divorce. The word fell cold as a blade. I threw the divorce papers right at his feet. Lucas's expression immediately changed. He almost threw Stella aside, lunging forward to grab the paper. When he saw the contents clearly, all color drained from his face. Sophia, are you insane? Demanding divorce over this? You think marriage is child's play? I gripped the pen with trembling but determined hands, signing my name, each stroke as decisive and clear as a blade cutting into stone. It's signed, now you sign. He knelt down, gripping my chin, grinding out each word. Are you threatening me? Just based on this piece of paper you think I'll bow down to you? Dream on. Rip. He tore the divorce papers apart. The pieces fell like scattered snow. But what was truly torn apart wasn't the paper, but the naked fragility of an empty marriage. This marriage, don't even think about divorcing me. I looked up at him, my voice hoarse but firm. You think holding the power to tear paper means you can keep my heart? You're wrong, Lucas. The paper can be torn but my determination cannot. A man who beats his wife to protect his mistress deserves to keep me. Ridiculous. He was momentarily stunned, anger flashing in his eyes, but I no longer cared. When I regained consciousness, I was in the hospital, my stomach aching like it was being cut with knives, my throat still thick with the metallic taste of blood. The room was quiet, only the beeping of monitoring equipment. Lucas sat by the bed, not to watch over me but to handle documents. The light reflected off his face, cold as a stone statue. Seeing me open my eyes, he didn't bother to look up. Awake. The doctor said you had internal bleeding, almost died. Lucky we got you here in time. His tone was as casual as discussing the weather, without a trace of remorse. Now that you're awake, you should reconsider your behavior. Finally he looked up, his eyes cold as ice, his voice full of judgment. Sophia, you went too far. Stella was just joking around. What right did you have to slap her? I stared at him in disbelief. After 3 years of marriage, this was all I got in return. He always did this, always standing on Stella's side. He continued leisurely, not forgetting to twist the knife in the wound. She's been spoiled since childhood, your slap made her cry all night. She said her face still hurts, might leave a scar. I want you to apologize to her, kneel down. Those 2 words again, kneel down. I burst out laughing, the laughter broken but full of mockery. Lucas, your kick almost killed me, I'm not joking. I pointed to the medical report on the bedside table, my voice broken but each word clear. Internal bleeding. If we'd been even a little later you would have become a widower. He frowned. Stop pretending, the doctor said it was just minor bruising. Besides, who told you to strike first? You hit Stella, naturally I had to seek justice for her. I pursed my lips. Justice? You want to seek justice for Stella? Then who will seek justice for me? The legal wife who nearly lost her life to her own husband's kick. The space fell into silence. I closed my eyes not from fear but because I knew. From this moment on, the farce called marriage between me and Lucas had reached its end. The last bit of hope in my heart was completely extinguished. 3 years, 3 whole years. I naively believed he truly loved me or at least had some feelings left. For 3 years, I deluded myself that he would keep his promise to protect me. For 3 years, I clung to the illusion that I had a place in his heart. But it turned out everything was self-deception. In Lucas's eyes I wasn't even worth a strand of Stella's hair. Divorce. This time I spoke without any stutter, my voice sharp as a blade, so clear that each word hissed through my teeth. Lucas froze, his eyes widening. What did you just say? I pursed my lips, emphasizing each word. I said divorce. From under the pillow, I pulled out the second divorce agreement I had prepared. I held it up without trembling. Sign it. Lucas's face immediately darkened. He snatched the paper, making the familiar motion to tear it. I coldly caught his hand, my eyes mocking. Useless. Tear it, I have a whole stack. If this one is ruined, there are others. How long can you keep tearing, CEO Stone? His motion froze mid-air, pupils dark. He ground out the words, Sophia, you prepared this beforehand. You've always been waiting for this opportunity. I looked straight at him, proudly nodding. Yes. And I've waited long enough. Lucas stood up abruptly, looking down from above, his voice commanding like a verdict. Stop making trouble. Just because of one small incident you're demanding divorce. Are you insane? I laughed coldly, my breath still mixed with the metallic taste of blood. But each word was like a blade. Small incident. You call me being humiliated in front of hundreds of people a small incident. You call the kick that made me vomit blood and nearly die a small incident. You forcing me to kneel before your mistress is also a small incident. Then what counts as a big deal, Lucas? I paused, narrowing my eyes, my voice cold as ice. Oh. Maybe only when Stella sheds a single tear does that count as a big deal, right? Lucas's face turned purple, he spun around, his voice losing patience. I don't have time to play these childish games with you. Wait until you're rational, remember to apologize to Stella, and she says if you're sincere, she'll forgive you. At the door, he turned back, coldly delivering another slap to my face. Oh right, don't dream about divorce anymore. You're a stutterer, without me, who would want you? Stay home obediently, don't make me lose face. The door slammed shut, his footsteps fading away. The hospital room sank into terrifying silence. I burst out laughing. The laughter hoarse and bloody but ringing clear in the empty room. Who needs a man like that to avoid losing face? I picked up my phone and texted my lawyer. File for divorce as soon as possible. The lawyer responded quickly. Need to prepare evidence, do you have any? My fingers trembled as I typed, but each word was sharp as a knife blade carved into the screen. Yes, I've had it for 3 whole years. That's right, I had evidence. Not just the surveillance footage from tonight, recording the entire scene of him kicking me down, forcing me to kneel, and embracing his mistress right in front of his wife. But also the entire chain of 3 years of fractured marriage. Every time Lucas trampled on my dignity for Stella's sake. This time, I was the one holding the knife. Every recorded argument, every medical diagnosis from when I was pushed down, beaten, and abandoned, I kept it all. Because deep down I knew this day would come, the day I would have to use my own blood and tears to force this marriage to its end. The next day, Stella appeared. She wore a pure white dress. Her whole person pretending to be as clear as a freshly bloomed white lotus, carrying a fruit basket, stepping into the hospital room with such gentle grace it made me sick. Sister Sophia, are you feeling better? She placed the fruit basket on the table, sat down in the chair, her eyes full of concern. Her voice as gentle as if she had never been the one mocking me on stage. Yesterday was really my fault, I shouldn't have joked like that. She bowed her head, her voice choking as if about to cry. I just wanted to lighten the tense atmosphere, I didn't expect you to get so angry. But you were also a bit impulsive, actually daring to hit me. She gently touched her still red cheek, her eyes glistening. It really hurt, Lucas scolded me about it all night. I stared straight at that fake face. My eyes cold to the bone. Stella, how long do you plan to keep acting? In that instant, the smile on her lips stiffened, but quickly Stella regained her innocent expression, her eyes sparkling like a doe's. Sister Sophia, what do you mean? I sincerely came to apologize. I laughed dryly, throwing each word straight at her face. 3 years ago. When you went abroad, you cried and begged me to take care of Lucas. You swore up and down that you two were just friends, told me to rest assured. So this is how you take care of him. Her eyes briefly darkened, the mask of pure goddess falling away in an instant. Stella laughed coldly, standing up gracefully to adjust her dress. Sophia, you're so naive. Do you think Lucas married you because he loved you? That statement was like a knife stabbed straight into my heart, but I didn't even flinch. She stepped closer, her tone triumphant. Because you look like me, your eyes, your figure, all like me from 3 years ago. You're nothing but a substitute. She walked to the window. Sunlight hitting her perfect profile, making her arrogance even more apparent. I went abroad to become more excellent. Education, temperament, social skills, I have it all. What about you? She turned to look at me like looking at a speck of dust. 3 years have passed, and you're still the same as day one, provincial, can't even speak properly. A stutterer like you deserves to be Mrs. Stone, you only make him lose face. The entire upper class is laughing at him for marrying a mute. I silently watched her, the corner of my mouth curling slightly. She thought she had the upper hand, not knowing how ridiculous her performance looked in my eyes. Fine. I spoke up. Each word rang out so cold it tore through the air. I've already filed the lawsuit. Stella was stunned, her smile freezing. What? I looked straight into her eyes, no trembling, no fear. Lawsuit for divorce. No longer stuttered words but a sharp blade, cutting through the chains that had bound me for 3 years. I spoke slowly, each word shooting out like a knife stabbing straight at the person before me. Didn't you want me to leave? Fine, I'll help you get your wish. Stella's expression momentarily distorted. Clearly she hadn't expected me to be so decisive, but just a moment later, that panic disappeared, replaced by a triumphant smile. Hemph, consider yourself sensible. She turned and walked to the door, her manner so arrogant it was nauseating. Before leaving, she couldn't help but turn back, her tone haughty. "Oh right," Lucas said, "after you're discharged, come to his company and kneel down in front of everyone to apologize to me. He said that's your last chance." I looked straight into her eyes, slowly responding, my voice cold as ice. "I won't go apologize." After being discharged, I didn't return to Lucas's villa but went back to my parents' home. For 3 years, this was the first time I had stepped through that gate. When mother saw me, she trembled all over, tears immediately flowing. "How did you get so thin? Your complexion is so bad. Where's Lucas? Why didn't he bring you home?" I just shook my head, my voice hoarse. "Mom, I want a divorce." Mother was shocked, her trembling hand stroking my cheek. Then she hurriedly helped me sit down, poured a glass of warm water, her voice hesitant as she slowly said, "No need to rush." I recounted everything. Every wound from the past 3 years, from the wedding day to first meeting Stella, to all the times I was humiliated and trampled underfoot. After hearing it all, Mother was so angry she shook. "That beast." She suddenly stood up, furious to the point her eyes were red. "I have to go find him and settle accounts. Back then he promised everything. Said he would take care of you for life. Now what does he think you are?" I gripped Mother's hand tightly, my voice firm. "Mom, don't go. I've already hired a lawyer. We'll go to court." Father came out of his study, his expression calm. He sat down, silent for a long time, finally speaking decisively. "Divorce is right. This kind of man isn't worth keeping. My father is a famous surgeon in Beijing, my mother a university lecturer. Both are intellectuals who extremely despise men like Lucas. When I insisted on marrying him 3 years ago, they had opposed it. They said his eyes were shifty and untrustworthy, but I was blinded by love then, insisting on marrying him." Father placed his hand on my shoulder, his eyes firm. "Daughter, Dad and Mom support you. We cannot endure such humiliation. That stuttering problem, Dad will find the best doctor to cure it, it will definitely be cured. Dad's daughter deserves the best. Lucas is not worthy." Mother hugged me tightly, hot tears falling. How could Mom's excellent daughter let such trash hurt her? "You deserve to be loved, not trampled on." That evening, the phone rang, showing his name on the screen. I answered. As soon as I picked up, Lucas's voice roared with fury. "Sophia, what do you want?" "The lawyer's letter was sent directly to my company. Do you want the whole world to know we're divorcing? Do you want to ruin me?" I pursed my lips, my voice calm. "Exactly." The other end of the line made grinding sounds. "Don't push me too far. How have I treated you badly these 3 years? You lived in a villa, drove luxury cars, wore the finest clothes. With your damned condition, if not for me, who would marry you?" I was stunned for a second, then burst out laughing. A laugh full of bitterness but also full of contempt. So in your eyes I'm just a defective product, a broken language machine, a damned disease. And what you call good treatment is wrapping humiliation in sugar and stuffing it down my throat." I lowered my voice, each word hissing through my teeth. "Listen carefully, Lucas. I may be a stutterer, but that's better than being a despicable man who uses his legal wife as a shield while keeping a mistress as his moonlight. My condition can be cured, but your diseases, the disease of betrayal, the disease of shamelessness, the disease of treating your wife like trash, there's no medicine for those in this lifetime." He fell silent for several seconds, only rapid breathing audible through the phone. I smiled slightly and hung up. For the first time in 3 years, I felt like I could breathe freely. So this was what marriage meant to Lucas, just charity. A man who thought marrying me was the greatest favor he could bestow in his lifetime. I smirked mockingly. "Then sign the papers." Lucas ground his teeth with a clicking sound, his voice threatening like a warning. "I'm telling you, don't dream of divorce. I have the best team of lawyers, and you, a stutterer. What do you have to fight me with? Keep dreaming." He hung up. The phone screen went dark, but my heart lit up with an unusual calm. I took a deep breath and smiled softly. "It's fine. The court will make its judgment." I had evidence, and more importantly, I was keeping a secret that he had no idea about. From that day on, Lucas began desperately harassing me. Dozens of calls every day, which I never answered. When he couldn't get through, he came to stand outside my house waiting, holding a huge bouquet of roses, playing the lovesick CEO like in those cheap idol dramas. Once when Mother went down to throw out trash, he immediately rushed over to block her path with a fake gentle expression. "Mom, I've come to take Sophia home. We're just having a little marital spat, please don't take it to heart." Mother looked up at him, displaying a cold smile, each word sharp as a blade. "Go home. What home? When you kicked her until she vomited blood, did you remember she was your wife? When you forced her to kneel and apologize to your mistress, did you remember she was your wife?" Lucas frowned. Mom, that's just a misunderstanding. Sophia struck first. I was just what? Mother immediately cut him off, her voice bitter. Just defending another woman by kicking your own wife. Lucas, you're not worthy of my daughter. Please leave here. She turned and walked away without another glance. Lucas's face turned red and purple, shouting after her like a madman. Sophia is just throwing a tantrum. She can't live without me. A stutterer, besides me, who would want her? Mother stopped, slowly turned around, her eyes sharp as father's surgical blade. Remember this well, my daughter deserves the best love in this world. And you don't even deserve to say the word love. With that, she turned and left, as decisive as cutting through a rotten rope. Lucas wanted to chase after but was stopped by security. He could only stand downstairs shouting, looking as pathetic as it was laughable. Sophia, come out here and talk to me properly. 3 years of feelings, you're just going to throw it all away. I stood by the window looking down at the person writhing like a clown below. I had once loved that man so much. Loved him enough to give up everything. Loved him enough that even when humiliated, I told myself that if I just endured, he would change. But now I only found him pitiful and contemptible. I began psychological therapy. The doctor said my stuttering largely stemmed from psychological issues, from childhood trauma and the pressure of being tormented by my husband for 3 years. Relax, don't be tense. The doctor's voice was gentle, her eyes full of patience. Just speak slowly, no need to rush. Believe that you can speak fluently. I nodded slightly. For the first time in years I felt a glimmer of hope. I could not only leave Lucas, I could also heal myself. I practiced over and over, starting with the simplest syllables, word by word, sentence by sentence. Gradually I realized I was speaking much more fluently. It turned out that just by staying away from Lucas, my condition had already half healed itself. At the same time, I began reorganizing my 3 years of married life. Opening photo albums, everything was pictures of me alone. Photos with Lucas were pitifully rare. And the few that existed showed his face stiff as if reluctantly fulfilling an obligation. Wedding photos had hung in the bedroom for 3 years. But he never glanced at them. His wedding ring he had discarded long ago, claiming work made it inconvenient. But I had seen him wearing the watch Stella gave him. That watch cost more than our wedding rings. The signs were so obvious I just hadn't wanted to admit it. The phone rang. It was Lucas's mother. Sophia, come to the house. Her voice was as arrogant as always, her tone high and mighty as if bestowing a favor. There are some things we should discuss face to face. I was silent for a few seconds, then decided to go. Some things needed to be ended cleanly. The Stone family villa, where I had lived for 3 years. Pushing open the door. In the living room wasn't just my mother-in-law, Stella was also sitting there, positioned next to her so intimately they looked like real mother and daughter. Sophia's here. My mother-in-law forced a smile but her eyes were cold. I heard you want a divorce. I nodded without beating around the bush. Just over this little thing. She sipped her tea, her voice leisurely but full of contempt. Sophia, stop being stubborn. Lucas is a good man, you should know how to cherish him. So many girls want to marry into the Stone family but can't. I looked straight at her, my voice not trembling at all. He kicked me until I vomited blood. Do you know? My mother-in-law remained indifferent, completely unmoved. Men being a bit hot-tempered is normal, besides you were at fault first. Then she turned to glance at Stella. Stella is an innocent girl, how could you hit her? Just then, Stella bowed her head slightly, wiping tears, her voice weak as if grievously wronged. Auntie, don't blame Sister Sophia. It's all my fault. I just wanted to tease her a little. I didn't expect her to take it so seriously. My mother-in-law hugged her tightly, her voice full of sympathy. Silly child. How could it be your fault? Then she turned to me, her voice cold, carrying a command. Sophia, apologize. Let this matter end here. Live peacefully from now on. Don't cause any more trouble. I stood up, my voice decisive. Impossible. Her expression changed immediately, grinding out her words. Sophia, don't be ungrateful. Someone like you, besides the Stone family, who else would want you? A stutterer acting all picky, who do you think you are? I took a deep breath. This time my voice rang out full and clear, sharp as a blade. I'd rather never marry than live another day in this filthy marriage. She slammed her teacup down hard, standing up abruptly. If you dare step out that door, don't think about coming back. I turned and walked away without looking back. Behind me came her furious cursing, each sentence falling like stones. Ungrateful wretch, just wait and regret it. Without the Stone family you're nothing. I smiled softly, stepping out into the sunlight, thinking to myself, without the Stone family I am finally myself. With the Stone family I would only ever be a puppet. Stella's saccharine voice rang out behind me. Auntie, don't be angry, Sister Sophia is just momentarily confused. When she stumbles in the outside world, she'll realize how good Lucas is. I didn't turn back. The moment I stepped out of the Stone family gate, I felt like I had just removed shackles that had bound me for 3 years. My back was straight, my heart lighter than ever before. The lawyer informed me that Lucas refused to agree to an amicable divorce, so we could only go through litigation, which might take some time. The Stone family also had some influence in Beijing. The lawyer said gravely, but don't worry, we have sufficient evidence, medical diagnosis from the hospital, surveillance video from the anniversary party, and witness testimony from those present that night. Quite a few people saw what happened and couldn't stand it, willing to testify. 3 months maximum and there will definitely be a verdict. I nodded. Thank you. For the first time, I felt no fear. I finally held the initiative. Leaving the law office, I received a strange call. Is this Ms. Sophia? A man's voice, gentle but decisive. I'm Quinn Torres from Kinghua Investment. I heard you're an interior designer. Kinghua Investment, a name leading the investment industry, wielding considerable power in the sector. I was slightly stunned. For 3 years I had barely worked. Lucas didn't let me work, pouring sweet poison into my ears. The CEO's wife doesn't need to show her face in public. I'll take care of you for life. Take care for life. I laughed coldly inside. For 3 years, what I received was contempt, a fatal kick, being forced to kneel before his mistress. I hesitated, but I haven't worked for 3 years. No problem. Queen cut me off, his tone confident, not giving me a chance for self-doubt. I've reviewed your previous works. They're excellent. If convenient, come for an interview tomorrow. After hanging up, I was dazed. 3 years ago, I was just beginning to get attention in the design world. But then I gave it up for a marriage I thought was love. For those honeyed words. I'll take care of you for life. Now I would take care of myself. The next day I went to Kinghua Investment. Quinn was younger than I expected, with a calm and elegant demeanor. When he saw me, surprise flashed in his eyes, then immediately became a courteous smile. You're Sophia, I nodded. He smiled. Indeed, seeing is believing. Your work has a unique spirit. It's a pity you stopped designing for 3 years. He flipped through the portfolio I brought, brows slightly furrowed, his voice regretful. Really, truly a pity. Those 3 years. You could have been standing much higher by now. I felt a bit embarrassed. Honestly, I might need time to regain my form. No problem. Quinn smiled, his eyes confident. Take your time getting back into it. Talented people just need to return to the right place to shine. He paused, then gently asked, I heard you're undergoing speech therapy. I was slightly startled. How do you know? I have a friend who's a speech therapy specialist. Quinn replied, his voice gentle but decisive. If needed, I can introduce you. She's very professional. I was momentarily surprised, then bowed my head gratefully. Thank you. Leaving the company, I looked up at the clear blue sky. My mood was strangely light. After so many years of living in a prison called marriage, perhaps a new life was truly beginning. Lucas had gone mad. He followed me like a shadow. When I went to the hospital for checkups, he was there. When I went to the psychology clinic, he waited outside. When I arrived at Kinghua Investment, he blocked me right at the company gate. Sophia, come home with me. Stop making trouble. After 3 years, don't we have any feelings left? I coldly sidestepped him and continued walking. He immediately grabbed my arm, grinding out words. What exactly do you want? You want me to apologize, right? Fine, I apologize. I shouldn't have kicked you that day, is that enough? I stopped and turned to look straight at him. Too late. Too late for what? Lucas frowned, looking impatient. Wasn't it just one kick? I already apologized. What more do you want? Do you know what people are saying about me? They say I'm a domestic abuser, that I'm a bad man. My reputation, my career, you've ruined it all. I sneered, each word like a knife stabbing into his face. Good. Lucas's expression immediately darkened, gloomy as storm clouds. Sophia, don't push me. I burst out laughing, the sound so cold that people around us shuddered. Push you to kick me again? Or push me to kneel at your feet once more? Or push me to be a human shield for your mistress again? That day was just an accident. Lucas took a deep breath, trying to suppress his anger slowly. That's enough. I cut him off, my voice sharp as a blade cutting fabric. Don't mention her in front of me again. Lucas, if you love her, go find her. Don't come bothering me. I don't love her. Lucas suddenly roared, his voice echoing down the street. I love you. People around stopped to look, many eyes curious, shocked, even mocking. I smiled lightly, a casual but contemptuous smile. You love me, so you kicked me down to the floor, made me vomit blood. You love me. So you forced me to kneel before your mistress. You love me, so you called me diseased and defective. You love me, so for 3 years you've always protected another woman. Treating me like garbage. I took a step closer, looking straight into his eyes, my voice low but loud enough for everyone around to hear clearly. That kind of love, keep it and hug it for warmth yourself. I don't need it. Lucas stood frozen, unable to say another word. In that moment, amid the crowd's whispers and discussions, he was no longer the high and mighty CEO, but just a clown losing face in the marketplace. Just then, Quinn stepped out of the company. Sophia, are you alright? He calmly but decisively stood in front of me, his manner relaxed yet solid as a shield. Lucas narrowed his eyes, his voice hissing through his teeth. Who are you? Quinn Torres, Sophia's friend and also business partner. Quinn's voice was calm, neither fast nor slow. Lucas sneered mockingly, his expression scornful. Sophia. You're quick, so you've already found a replacement. I glanced at him coldly and turned to leave without wasting words. Behind me, angry roars erupted. Sophia, come back here. You're my wife. Quinn looked up, his gaze cold as ice, his voice low but enough to make everyone around shudder. Mr. Stone, please show some self-respect. If you continue harassing her, I'll call the police. After that day, Lucas was quiet for several days. I thought he had finally learned his lesson. Until Stella came to see me. In the coffee shop, she sat across from me, graceful and elegant, fingertips gently stirring her coffee, as if she were the female lead in a cheap drama. Sophia. Do you really want a divorce? I thought you were just threatening. I couldn't be bothered to respond and stood up to leave. She suddenly dropped a line, her voice sweet but challenging. Do you know? These past few nights, Lucas has been sleeping at my place every night. My steps froze. He said you two have separated. She smiled triumphantly. Her red lips bright as blood. He said after the divorce he'll marry me. Then Stella pulled out her phone and showed me the screen. In the photo, Lucas was lying on a bed, clothes disheveled, with her bedroom clearly in the background. Taken last night. She smiled sweetly, each word dropping like honey laced with poison. He was drunk. Kept calling your name, but the person he was holding was me. I looked at the photo, my heart not stirring with even a ripple, as calm as viewing a meaningless landscape painting. Isn't that perfect then? I slowly replied, turning to look at her. Didn't you always want the position of Mrs. Stone? Stella's expression suddenly stiffened. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. I sat back down, the corner of my mouth curving into a cold smile. Stella, I'll fulfill both of you. But there's something you might not know. What? She frowned, her voice trembling slightly. Lucas actually can't have children. I said calmly, my tone decisive as a blade cutting fabric. For 3 years we haven't had children. It's not my fault. Stella's face immediately turned pale. You're lying. Believe it or not. It's up to you. I stood up and gathered my purse, my voice as casual as discussing the weather. Anyway, you two are already together. Soon enough. You'll know the truth. I paused and turned back with a smile sharp to the bone. Oh, and one more thing. Stone Corporation has been having cash flow problems lately. He's borrowing money everywhere. Did you know? Stella was stunned, her face losing all color. I smiled lightly and spoke each word clearly. Good luck. The court summons had been sent. The trial was scheduled for 1 month later. Lucas finally began to panic. He ran to my parents' workplaces making a scene, shouting that I was having an affair, that I was greedy for money, making up all sorts of vile stories. Security had to drag him out, but he still stood outside the gate screaming like a madman. Sophia, come out here. You'll never escape me in this lifetime. The scene was no different from a wild beast that had lost its cage, both pitiful and laughable. Sophia is a despicable woman. After 3 years of marriage, she couldn't earn a single penny. Now demanding divorce, she definitely wants to divide my assets. Lucas's roars were shrill like a madman. Father was so angry he wanted to rush up and slap him, but colleagues held him back. Mother remained calm as if watching a cheap play. Just let him make a scene. The more noise he makes, the better for us. Indeed, the CEO's public breakdown was quickly filmed by passersby and posted online. Stone Corporation CEO loses it in the street. Elite marriage rotten to the core, dirty secrets exposed. Domestic abuser loses humanity, public opinion exploded. Soon after, someone dug up the complete video from the anniversary party. Clear footage of him kicking me vomiting blood, collapsing on the marble floor, while he gently led Stella away. You are listening to a story on love revenge stories. Netizens exploded. Domestic abusers should be boycotted by society. That poor girl, it's heartbreaking to watch. Lucas is truly the scumbag of legends. The mistress isn't much better either, shameless to the extreme. Stone Corporation's stock price plummeted without breaks. The board immediately pressured him for explanations. His mother called me, screaming, "Sophia, you're truly vicious. Do you intend to destroy the Stone family?" I responded indifferently with just 4 words, "Not my problem. He did it himself, he doesn't know how to save face. He chose to turn marriage into a battleground. So don't blame me for sitting in the stands watching him perform." 1 week before the trial, I unexpectedly received a file, grandfather's will. I had almost forgotten. 3 years ago, when I decided to marry Lucas, grandfather was still alive. He didn't like him and had advised me to stop, but I was blindly in love and wouldn't listen. Before passing away, he only left 1 sentence. "If there's ever a day you can't survive in this marriage, at least you'll have a way out." I opened the file, my heart nearly stopping. Grandfather had left me 30% of Chen Corporation shares, the second largest real estate group in Beijing. The business empire he built from nothing. Father hadn't continued in business, so management was still handled by professional directors. But those 30% shares made me the largest individual shareholder, with a market value of over 5 billion yuan. The lawyer looked at me, his voice confident. "Mr. Chen left this as your dowry, with a 3-year lock period. Now it's expired and effective." I sat in stunned silence, tears streaming down. Grandfather had seen through everything from the beginning. He knew this marriage couldn't last, so he prepared an escape route for me, a golden path. That fool Lucas always thought I was just a girl from an ordinary family, unworthy of the title Mrs. Stone. He had no idea I was the granddaughter of old Mr. Chen, the man who once dominated the business world, who built an empire that made the business community bow their heads. On the trial day, Lucas brought a formidable team of lawyers, his face still arrogant as if certain of victory. Stella was also present, sitting in the public gallery, trying to appear dignified while clearly triumphant. In their eyes, I was just a stutterer, an abandoned woman, weak with nothing in hand. They had no idea that today was just the beginning of my comeback. Today Stella deliberately dressed as if going to a gala rather than court. A fitted black suit, hair in a neat bun, high heels clicking on the floor, every step exuding the air of the rightful wife. As for Lucas, his eyes looking at me were chaotically laughable, angry, bitter, unwilling, and clearly flickering with fear. Yes, he was afraid. His company was on the verge of collapse, capital exhausted, stock prices plummeting. Today he needed to win this case like he needed oxygen to breathe. The judge spoke. Voice solemn, "Plaintiff, please state your reason for divorce." I stood up. The therapy hadn't been wasted, my voice rang out full and clear, without a tremor. "Domestic violence." The entire courtroom fell silent. I spoke decisively. "The defendant physically assaulted me in public. As a result, I suffered internal bleeding and was hospitalized for a week. Here is the hospital diagnosis." I presented the documents with steady hands. "Here is surveillance video from the Stone Corporation anniversary celebration." The large screen lit up, showing crystal clear footage. Lucas coldly delivering a vicious kick to my stomach. I fell and rolled, mouth bleeding bright red, while he bent down to help Stella, leading her away like a hero saving a beauty. Whispers spread throughout the courtroom. Some were outraged, some laughed bitterly, some turned to look at Stella with contemptuous eyes, as if looking at the legendary mistress. Lucas's lawyer quickly stood up to object. "Your Honor, this wasn't domestic violence, just an impulsive pushing incident." "Pushing?" My lawyer immediately jumped up, voice hard as a hammer on the table. "Please watch the video carefully." The defendant delivered a direct kick to the plaintiff's abdomen. Immediately after, the plaintiff vomited blood on the spot. If this is called pushing, then breaking bones would be called patting shoulders. The entire courtroom erupted in bitter laughter. The judge looked sternly at Lucas. "Defendant, do you admit to striking the plaintiff?" Lucas's throat worked for several seconds before he gritted his teeth. "She struck first. She hit Stella." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Who is Stella? A friend?" Lucas stammered. The judge's eyes were ice cold. "What kind of friend that you'd be willing to hit your own wife for her in front of a crowd?" Lucas was speechless, his face red but unable to utter a word. My lawyer continued the assault. "Your Honor, we have evidence of an extramarital relationship between the defendant and Ms. Stella Hayes. This constitutes emotional infidelity." He placed a stack of photos on the table. Each one showed Lucas and Stella embracing, holding hands, intimate in restaurants, hotels, even at Stone Corporation offices. Stella, sitting in the public gallery, lost all color in her face, her hands trembling uncontrollably, no longer able to maintain her rightful wife demeanor from earlier. As for Lucas, with each photo thrown down, his face grew paler. By the time the entire stack of documents lay on the table, he was like a breathing corpse, not daring to look at anyone. During the recess, Lucas rushed to find me, his eyes chaotic, his voice choking like someone about to drown. Sophia, can we talk privately? I smirked slightly. At court. Or at your mistress's place. The light remark was gentle as wind but enough to make him pale, while Stella across the gallery trembled like a caught thief. Sophia, stop making trouble. His voice shook, no longer showing the CEO's arrogance, sounding like pleading. Withdraw the case. I promise I'll treat you well from now on. I won't see Stella anymore. Can we start over? I looked at him, the man who had once been my whole world, whom I'd blindly believed would be my lifelong support, now standing before me so strange it was laughable. Too late. I shook my head, my voice light as a blade cutting straight into his heart. He panicked, his voice breaking. Then what do you want? Money, the house. Give it all to you, just withdraw the case. I laughed dryly. Lucas, I don't need anything of yours. I just want one thing. Freedom. His face changed, he hurriedly grabbed my hand, trembling as if about to lose everything. Sophia, I was wrong, I really was wrong. I shouldn't have hit you. Shouldn't have made you kneel and apologize. Stella and I really have nothing, you have to believe me this time. I pulled my hand away, looking straight into his eyes. Each word ripping apart his mask of deception. It's not because of her, it's because of you. From beginning to end, I was never the most important person in your heart. I was just a shadow, a talking doll. When you needed me, I had to appear. When you didn't, I had to disappear. That's not love, Lucas. That's locking someone in a cage and calling it marriage. The afternoon session continued. The judge struck the gavel and asked the final question. Do either party have anything to add? My lawyer stood up calmly, adjusting his tie, his voice ringing clear. The plaintiff requests compensation for emotional damages based on the plaintiff's status and position. He deliberately paused, the entire courtroom falling silent, all eyes converging. The plaintiff Sophia is currently the largest shareholder of Chen Corporation, holding 30% of shares with a market value exceeding 5 billion yuan. Boom. The entire courtroom exploded, exclamations rising like a tsunami. Lucas stared at me, pupils dilated, his face contorting as if struck by lightning, unable to believe or accept it. Stella, who had been sitting smugly confident, now turned to stone, her lips trembling without uttering a word. Lucas's mother shot up from the public gallery, screaming hysterically. Impossible, impossible. I smiled slightly, my lips curving into a sharp line. You may not believe it, but the market does and legal documents do too. Most importantly, the law recognizes it. The courtroom atmosphere immediately changed. If initially I was the disadvantaged wife seeking justice, now clearly I was the one holding the knife. How can she be from the Chen family? Lucas's mother shrieked, her face white as if seeing a ghost. My lawyer responded calmly, voice clear. Here is the share certificate. Ms. Sophia is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Chen. 3 years ago, before passing away, he left her 30% of Chen Corporation shares as her dowry. The freeze period has now expired. Ownership is effective. The courtroom erupted again. Lucas's face was white as paper. Finally he understood, I wasn't a weak woman who needed to cling to him. I had backing, capability, and the qualification to leave him with dignity. My lawyer continued the assault. Therefore, we request the defendant compensate 10 million yuan for emotional damages. The plaintiff's reputation has been severely damaged. A woman with assets worth 5 billion yuan being publicly beaten and humiliated. 10 million is actually modest. The entire courtroom shook again. Lucas sat in dead silence. Stella's face was deathly pale. Lucas's mother collapsed into her chair, trembling and speechless. The verdict came quickly. Divorce granted. Lucas to pay 5 million yuan in emotional damages, personal property retained according to prenuptial agreements. The villa purchased after marriage, being joint property. I would receive half. Just stepping out of court, Lucas rushed over, eyes red, voice hoarse. Sophia, you lied to me. You always lied to me. You never told me your true identity. If I had known you were from the Chen family. I cut him off, my eyes like blades piercing straight into his heart. If you had known, then what? Wouldn't have kicked me, wouldn't have made me kneel, wouldn't have humiliated me in front of your mistress. If everything was just because of the Chen name, then how cheap is the love you speak of? He choked, unable to say a word. Lucas, you never loved me. You love yourself, you love face, status, power. Now that you know my true identity, you regret it. Too late. I turned to leave. Behind me came the sound of someone falling to their knees, echoing across the courthouse steps. Before many eyes, Lucas knelt prostrate, choking like a lost soul. Sophia, I was wrong. Please forgive me, give me one chance. I swear I'll treat you well. I bent down to look at him with empty eyes, my voice ice cold. Do you remember? You once made me kneel before Stella. You said I wasn't worthy. Now I'm saying the same to you, you're not worthy of forgiveness. With that, I stepped around him and walked away. Behind me, his throat-tearing screams echoed across the square. Sophia, come back, I really was wrong, give me one more chance. But I didn't turn back, because some paths once taken wrongly cannot be retraced. Some people, once they've caused harm, cannot be saved. I could only leave in pride, leaving him collapsed on the ground like a clown stripped of all glory. True self-worth cannot be determined by others' treatment of you. Sophia's journey reveals that enduring abuse and humiliation in the name of love is not noble. It's self-destructive. Her transformation came when she stopped seeking validation from someone who fundamentally disrespected her. The story demonstrates that real strength lies in recognizing your inherent value, setting boundaries, and walking away from relationships that diminish your dignity. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is refusing to accept less than you deserve, even when society pressures you to endure for the sake of maintaining appearances or preserving a relationship. Here is the second story. My phone screen stopped on Marcus Wellington's social media post. The caption was simple but earth-shattering. This time I choose love. In the photo, he wore a suit I had personally selected, kissing Luna Mitchell right at the airport. Comments from mutual friends poured in like watching a circus act. Marcus really has guts. Where does Sophia's dignity go now? Abandoning the bride at the altar, running to the airport to embrace his junior, truly a slap for the history books. Throwing away the dignity of both families for one woman, his brain must be waterlogged. I looked away from the screen, down at the cold wedding ring on the table. Inside was engraved with our initials. This custom-designed pair he had once called a symbol of eternal love. He had proudly boasted about adding magnets to the outer ring. Whenever the two rings came close, they would instantly attract and stick together. Just like us, no matter what happens, we'll never part. He had said it so earnestly. Because of his severe mysophobia, close contact with me was difficult, so the rings would substitute for intimacy. He promised he would never refuse my advances, that he would work to overcome this condition. Back then I naively believed, didn't pressure him, willingly respected his boundaries. Who knew that at the bachelor party, I saw with my own eyes him drinking from Luna's cup without hesitation, draining it like a man dying of thirst, not showing the slightest reluctance. I watched that glass, my eyes cold as ice. Luna pretended to be innocent. Sister Yi, don't overthink it. We've been together for years, everyone drinks from shared cups out of habit. You won't mind, will you? Before I could respond, others already chimed in, patting her arm with coy laughter. Such a small thing, Sister Sophia, how could you possibly mind? Your magnanimity is well known. One sister, here 2 sisters, there. Their mouths showed respect, but their hearts cleverly pushed me into the mud. If I minded, the world would call me petty. If I didn't mind, I'd apparently be easily fooled. How ridiculous. That night I asked directly. Marcus blushed, hung his head to apologize, promising to be more careful next time. Looking back now, it was all just sweet lies. He wanted both the benefits from the Chen family and to nurture his love with Luna. A pipe dream of greed as calculating as a merchant. My assistant knocked and entered. Ms. Chen, Chairman Wellington on the internal line, he's called over a dozen times. Should I take it? I glanced at the screen, my voice light as wind. How much has it dropped? 7 points. Total value nearly 400 million. The corner of my mouth curved into a cold smile. Still not enough. That amount compared to the dignity I lost, nowhere near balanced. Do we need PR to handle public opinion? No need. I looked again at that kissing photo. His eyes were intoxicated, thinking himself a modern Romeo. If he's chosen love, then let the world see whether that love is truly worth sacrificing everything. My assistant withdrew. I walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. Outside, neon lights blazed brilliantly, but every prosperity was covered with a layer of cold ice. Chairman Wellington was silent, but moved faster than I expected. The phone buzzed. This time it was Marcus himself, the name that had once topped my contacts list flashing persistently. I let it ring until the sound died. Immediately after, the screen lit up with a text. Sophia Yi, you're truly shameless. Just because I chose Luna, you want to destroy me. Are you that jealous? Seconds later, another message followed. I know I wronged you, but feelings can't be forced. If you truly loved me, you should have let go for love's sake. Why use such despicable means to pressure me? You've disappointed me so much. I burst out laughing, a short but sharp sound. Despicable means. What he called that was actually the consequence of his own actions. If he had dared to be honest early on, would I have needed to act? But no, for the immediate benefits, he chose silence, chose deception. You have mysophobia, washing your hands dozens of times after touching me. Yet you drink from the same cup as Luna without complaint. The man who once swore to hold the wedding as planned ultimately made me a laughingstock before the world. He thought he was cleverly managing a love triangle, but his choice was to push me to the pillar of shame, making the entire elite circle see me as an appetizer for gossip. And now he dared to blame me for not knowing how to let go for love. Truly, if there were an award for self-delusional performers, Marcus would deserve the grand prize. I texted my assistant to accelerate the process. Tonight we must drop a full 10 points. The assistant replied immediately. Order received. I put down my phone and opened the stock market, red numbers dancing like blood spreading across a lake. Wellington Industries market value evaporated bit by bit. I smiled coldly. Chairman Wellington, a seasoned businessman, surely won't disappoint me. The phone lit up again, still him. His tone had softened considerably. Like someone drowning who'd grabbed a pole. Yay, can we talk? This chaos benefits no one. My parents are going crazy. Give me another chance, won't you? Isn't it just that you felt embarrassed today? I'll help you recover your dignity. Whatever punishment you want, just don't make things difficult for my father. He's innocent. Innocent. I laughed mockingly. If his father were innocent, then I'd just humiliated myself at the altar for fun. I typed a brief line, sharp as a blade. If you want reconciliation, show your sincerity. Quickly he replied, okay, I know what to do. I looked at that line, feeling momentarily strange, but work was piling up. I set it aside for now. After handling everything at the company, I drove home to the villa. Halfway there, my phone rang. My best friend. Where are you? Her voice was so urgent it sounded like she'd just run a marathon. Just left the office, heading home. Before I could finish, the other end erupted like machine gun fire. Come back to the company immediately. Marcus is on the rooftop saying you're forcing him to die. He just posted on social media. Reporters are swarming now. Public opinion is all targeting you. I narrowed my eyes. Ah, so I know what to do. Meant playing the victim card. No repentance. Just setting up a stage to reverse the situation. I took a deep breath and opened his latest post. Sure enough, a post with a screenshot of our conversation, captioned ridiculously. It's all my fault. If this life can make you stop being angry and stop making things difficult for my parents, then perhaps this is the best ending. I read it over and over. My lips curving into a smile cold to the bone. Shameless to the point of being able to look in a mirror without breaking the glass. I tossed my phone to the passenger seat and turned the car around. Below the company building, police had blocked the road, ambulances on standby. On the highest floor, a cheap drama was being performed. I went straight to the elevator and stepped onto the rooftop. Marcus stood by the edge, wind whipping his shirt, looking like a sacrificial angel. His mother had fainted in a nurse's arms from crying. His father trembled, his voice breaking as he pleaded. And Luna was playing the tragic female lead, wailing and crying, blaming herself, saying she was the one who deserved to die. A grand drama was fully staged, missing only me, the number one villain. Cameras live-streamed directly at me. Broadcasting live. Comments flooded in vicious as a pack of hungry wolves. If she doesn't love him, why force him to a broken home? Antisocial personality, terrifying. Anyone who doesn't love her doesn't deserve to live. Thinks she's a princess. If she can't have him, she'll destroy him. Rich and powerful, taking what she wants by force. This type should die early. I scrolled through those comments and smirked. Indeed, the masses are easily led by the nose. See fake tragedy and they cry along. Suddenly, Luna rushed over, falling to her knees before me, her voice trembling like a dying dove. Sister Yi, it's all my fault. Marcus only loves me. Don't force him to die, if needed. Let me bear the blame. My phone was still bright, comments jumping wildly, growing more and more heated. They truly love each other. Love itself isn't wrong. But if you force him to death out of displeasure, then let me die in his place. Her tone was tragic, words cleverly crafted. Tears streaming, a performance that would make even the Oscars ashamed. I stood still, eyes cold as ice. It wasn't that I couldn't act, but that I didn't need to. Just because I'm unhappy, I'm forcing a man to die. I laughed coldly, the sound echoing straight into the crowd's ears. Yes, according to your script. I'm truly the most vicious and shameless person in the world. Maybe tomorrow I'll be crowned the nation's top villainess. Luna took that moment to whisper in my ear. Her voice low like a venomous snake. Sophia, do you know what your biggest failure is? I raised an eyebrow, my eyes narrowing slightly. 2. Faced faster than flipping pages. You think you're righteous and honorable, but he never felt anything for you. You wanted to use the Chen family to force compliance. Thought you hated him, but actually you can't let go. On this point you've lost. She smirked. Wellington Industries stock will recover, but you'll only end up more miserable. With that, Luna suddenly threw herself backward, screaming, Sister Yi, are you trying to push me down? If only my death will make you spare him. I laughed softly, this drama really was thoroughly prepared. One suicide threat, one self-sacrifice for love, two actors playing off each other perfectly, only missing a director to yell cut. I stepped forward, my eyes fixed on Marcus. You say I'm forcing you to die. He closed his eyes. His voice tragic, still trying to appear wronged. Isn't that so? You use your investment capital in Wellington Industries to manipulate me. Whenever you're unhappy, you immediately threaten Wellington Industries' interests. My father was once a respected figure in the city, but now he has to watch your moods to survive. Sophia, you have power and influence, but I'm a human being, my parents are human beings too, not dogs and cats for the Chen family to keep. I snorted softly. Dogs and cats of the Chen family. You got half of it right, good dogs never bite their masters. Do you think you qualify for that comparison? The crowd fell silent for a few seconds, livestream comments exploding. Some cursed me as vicious, others began suspecting Marcus's performance. Marcus's suicide threat quickly caused a social media storm. Hordes of netizens called for boycotting Chen Corporation products. Chen Corporation stock plummeted. Major brands simultaneously cancelled endorsement contracts. I thought I could rest temporarily, but unexpectedly they joined forces with Luna to launch an online campaign targeting me directly. They fabricated stories that I was habitually predatory, caring nothing for others' lives or deaths. The PR department's press release hadn't been live for 5 minutes before the official account was hacked and locked down. Luna capitalized on the momentum, releasing a petition demanding my removal as CEO. Power in Sophia's hands is no different from a sharp blade that could harm anyone at any time. The petition went viral with over 10 million shares. Even company employees secretly shared it like group entertainment. Just then, Marcus walked in with Luna, his face full of triumph, as if he'd just won a great victory. Why go this far? Making such a scene, I'm afraid you'll have trouble maintaining your position on the board of directors in the future. He drew out his words, his eyes gleaming mockingly. How about this? He prolonged his tone, eyes flashing with derision, beg me. And maybe for old time's sake I could help you out. I leaned back in the director's chair, as relaxed as watching a cheap circus act, casually asking, how exactly do you plan to help? He raised an eyebrow, his voice lazy but self-satisfied. I can produce a depression diagnosis. Proving my previous behavior was just due to excessive pressure, unable to control myself. And during treatment, Luna was worried about me, thinking you were holding me captive, so she posted some harsh words. This way all problems can be solved, everyone wins. I laughed coldly, my eyes sweeping over the two people before me. Ah, so using illness as a protective charm is quite convenient. Too bad this script is still too amateur. You must think the audience out there are all idiots. After listening, I felt only contempt that was laughable. I turned around, my eyes cold to the bone, looking straight at Luna, each word slowly released. So what's my price? Marcus immediately clapped twice, laughing softly, his triumph evident. Indeed you're smart, talking like this is much more comfortable. I want 10% of what originally belonged to Wellington Industries converted to cash and transferred to my account. Oh. And 2 items you bought at last month's auction. The jade pendant and Queen Victoria's crown used in the wedding. Luna likes them very much. My eyes immediately sharpened. That jade pendant was originally my family heirloom. The wedding crown symbolized a lifetime promise, yet he dared ask for both to give to his mistress. I sneered, my voice cutting. Marcus, your ambition is truly enormous. 600 million right off the bat, plus demanding both the family heirloom and wedding crown. Aren't you afraid of choking to death? Luna trembled slightly, her face pale, but when I glanced at her she quickly lowered her eyes, pretending to be docile. Marcus just shrugged, feigning nonchalance. Anyway, this is my limit. Give it or not, it's up to you. As soon as they left Chen Corporation, he immediately started a livestream, his face flushed red, eyes teary, looking weak and completely different from his arrogant demeanor earlier, his voice hoarse and trembling like a pitiful lamb. Sorry. I'm too weak to protect the person I love and my family. For years I've lived like a puppet in her hands. She uses investment capital and family influence to control me. Even basic freedom has become a luxury. Who I meet, what I say, everything needs her permission. And Luna, just for being by my side, was oppressed by her, nearly ruining her career. She thought this would make me completely submit. Today I humbled myself to beg her to let go. I just wanted to keep a bit of final dignity, but as you all saw, She wouldn't even give me this last chance. She uses Wellington Industries' future and Luna's prospects as tools to punish my rebellion. She's exactly the type who'll stop at nothing to achieve her goals. He paused, clenching his hands white, taking a deep breath as if suppressing sorrow. The livestream went viral immediately. Absolutely terrifying. How can elite glamour be so filthy? Or Mr. Wellington, stay strong. Now I understand why he abandoned his bride at the wedding. Who could endure this? Thinking back, I actually supported Sophia. I feel so ashamed. Support Mr. Wellington. Psychological coercion is also a crime. Sophia must explain herself. Those performed tears became the perfect catalyst, public opinion swinging completely to his side. Waves of fury building moment by moment. But I had long prepared sufficient evidence. I was waiting for exactly this moment, when public opinion peaked. That's when I would tear apart Marcus's disguise, ensuring he could never raise his head again. In the office, the atmosphere was thick enough to suffocate. Every senior executive's face was clouded with darkness. I placed all the evidence on the table, lists of gifts I'd bought for him, our entire conversation history, documents authenticating every cent I'd invested in Wellington Industries. I coldly swept my eyes over everyone in the boardroom, my voice sharp as ice. Just one Marcus and you're all trembling like this. Aren't you ashamed? A veteran shareholder slammed his pen on the table, his voice harsh as a judge's. Ms. Chen. I've been with the company since your grandfather's time. By seniority, you should call me uncle. I'll be direct, absolutely no action should be taken now. Best if you temporarily resign. I looked up, a faint smile blooming on my lips, no different from a blade about to be unsheathed. Wait for the storm to pass, then return to your position. We'll find someone to replace you temporarily. My hands under the table clenched white, but my face remained ice cold. Do you all share this opinion? The director cleared his throat hesitantly. CEO, the evidence you've provided only proves you two were once in love. But can't refute that you used your power to coerce him. I burst out laughing, the sound sharp as scissors cutting through his words. Refute how? How to refute? Isn't that exactly your job? He was startled, then tremblingly removed his work badge from his neck, his voice weak. Sorry Miss Chen, I'm powerless. I'm just PR, I can't fix this kind of damage. Several other directors also stood up, including the executive director who was Marcus's cousin, looking at me with a face heavy as lead. Ms. Chen, you should be realistic. After all, you once called me cousin. You treated my brother this way. And now want to escape clean. Aren't you making things difficult for us? I looked at him and found it only laughable. In the past, precisely because of Marcus, I had overlooked so much opposition and personally placed him in this position. He knew better than anyone how I had treated Marcus. Yet now he was turning around to join the false accusations. I looked around the room and finally understood how deep Wellington hands had reached. Someone else spoke with a superior tone, looking world-weary. Child, stop being stubborn. Your father is gone, I'm your elder, I should look after you. Just go rest. The company won't fall apart with us here. I remained silent to the point that the entire conference room was dead quiet, hearing only breathing. Everyone waited for me to bow my head and announce my temporary resignation. The phone suddenly rang loudly. I glanced at the screen and put it on speaker. Marcus's voice immediately came through, triumphant mixed with fake sympathy. How about it? Have you thought it over, Miss Chen? Inside and outside are in chaos now. Sophia, you have no other choice, just admit defeat. I smirked. Admit defeat. My voice rang out clearly, each word sharp as a blade. Marcus, after being by my side for so many years, still don't understand. Anyone I want to bring down has never been able to stand back up. You're naturally no exception. I leaned back, casually placing my hand on the armrest. My eyes sweeping straight across every face in the room. Among all of you, how many have taken Wellington money? Thinking you could overthrow me this time. The project director suddenly stood up, his voice resonant. Ms. Chen, today's events are clearly fabricated. If anyone dares force you to leave, our entire project department will resign collectively. That voice echoed, his eyes firm facing the crowd. As soon as he finished speaking, like a stone thrown into a stagnant pond, creating ripples throughout the room. R&D supports Ms. Chen. Finance only takes orders from Ms. Chen. Administration is loyal to Ms. Chen. A series of other departments stood up in unison, without hesitation. The long conference table clearly divided, one side opportunists, the other loyalists. The three remaining people's faces grew increasingly gloomy, like shadows pushed into corners. Just then, the door burst open. Marcus walked in, followed by several men in neat suits, obviously prepared to take over Chen Corporation. He walked to the center of the room, his voice half persuading, half threatening, what's the point of going this far? Sign it. Everyone can keep some dignity, and it's good for Chen Corporation too. As soon as he finished, Luna stepped forward to place a stack of documents before me, her red-rimmed eyes full of script. Sister, just sign. Then everyone will be at peace. I glanced over and suddenly burst out laughing, so urgent. Chen Corporation, do you think just anyone can steer this ship? Don't forget, I built this vessel. And I'll decide who's worthy of sitting on deck and who must jump overboard. The smile on Marcus's face briefly faded, his voice hardening. Sophia, don't be unreasonable. With the current situation, what other choice do you have? Sign it, this is for your own good and Chen Corporation's good. I laughed coldly, the sound sharp as a blade. For my own good. Marcus, are you telling jokes in broad daylight? All your tricks end here, don't they? Now it's my turn. I nodded slightly, and my assistant immediately projected prepared documents onto the large screen. First, bank statements, a glaring red 2 million transferred directly from a personal account to a foreign account under Marcus Wellington's name. Next, a series of WeChat screenshot, sender. Him, receiver Luna. Did you receive the money? Are the reporters arranged? Must be fast, must be effective. Don't worry, baby, my team is the most professional. Just act out the suicide scene realistically, netizens will definitely side with you. Then forcing her to bow her head will be easy. Good, send me photos of the hospital rooftop setup. Remember to choose the angle, must clearly show Chen Corporation headquarters. The recording played out, each word stabbing straight into everyone's ears. I can produce a depression diagnosis, proving previous behavior was just due to excessive pressure, unable to control myself. This way all problems are solved. Everyone's happy. 600 million, that's my limit. Give it or not, it's up to you. Marcus's face immediately froze. He stumbled back a step. The three people behind him losing all color. On screen, the final piece of evidence appeared, a message he sent to his cousin. Cousin must hold steady with the wavering board members. Once Sophia signs the resignation, I'll immediately take over commercial affairs. Within 3 days. I'll package all of Chen Corporation's core projects and send them to your inbox. The conference room was suffocated by deathly silence. No, impossible, Marcus finally managed to choke out, his voice hoarse. It's all fake, you forged everything. The conference room door opened. 2 court officers in uniform entered. One stepped forward, his voice clear throughout the space. Mr. Marcus Wellington, this is a court summons filed by Sophia charging you with illegal property appropriation. Please sign to acknowledge receipt. The paper burned in his trembling fingers. He looked at the summons, then at the evidence still blazing on screen. Finally his scattered gaze stopped on me. I lifted the corner of my mouth, smiling like a blade freshly drawn. My eyes briefly glanced at the back row where my assistant had opened the live stream. Betraying sincere feelings deserves swallowing 10,000 needles. Marcus, which needle would you like to start with? Live comments exploded, 600 million hush money. Project documents package for delivery, I'm speechless. Just now cursing Ms. Chen as a control freak, now see who's the real clown. What a man, vicious heart, staging fake suicide, partnering with outsiders to destroy his fiancée's company, selling even his conscience for money. Court summons delivered personally, evidence crystal clear. Just wait for Marcus and his mistress to go to prison. Ms. Chen is mighty. Marcus fell silent, his lips trembling but unable to utter a word. The stage he had painstakingly constructed collapsed in this moment, burying him completely. The conference room gradually quieted, the screen went dark, the live stream ended. While I still sat straight and cold as if I hadn't needed to break a sweat to demolish the paper kingdom he'd built. Marcus was helped out by his entourage. Looking no different from fleeing. The conference room was left in chaos, the drama's aftermath still lingering, the smell of failure hanging in the air. I calmly told my assistant to lead the cleanup crew, reassure the staff, stabilize morale. They'd had enough shock for one day. After handling everything, I returned to my office on the top floor. The internal line rang, my assistant's voice somewhat hesitant. Ms. Chen. Chairman Wellington on the internal line, he's called over a dozen times. Should I take it? I glanced at the screen, my voice light as wind. How much has it dropped? 7 points, total value nearly 400 million. The corner of my mouth curved into a cold smile, still not enough. That amount compared to the dignity I lost, nowhere near balanced. Do we need PR to handle public opinion? No need. I looked again at that embracing photo. His eyes were intoxicated, thinking himself a modern Romeo. If he's chosen love, then let the world see whether that love is truly worth sacrificing everything for. My assistant withdrew. I walked to the floor, to ceiling window. Outside, neon lights blazed. But every prosperity was coated with cold ice. Chairman Wellington remained silent but acted faster than I expected. The phone buzzed, this time it was Marcus himself. The name that once topped my contacts flashed incessantly. I let it ring until the sound died. Immediately the screen lit up with a message. Sophia, you really have no shame. Just because I chose Luna you want to destroy me. Are you that jealous? A few seconds later, another message. I know I wronged you. But feelings can't be forced. If you truly loved me, you should have let go for love's sake. Why use such despicable means to pressure me? You've disappointed me so much. I burst out laughing, a short, sharp sound. Despicable means. What he called that was actually the consequence of his own actions. If he had dared to be honest from the start, would I have needed to act? But no, for immediate benefits at hand, he chose silence, chose deception. Chairman Wellington was silent but moved faster than expected. The phone rang again, this time the chairman himself. That name that once held weight was flashing urgently. I let it ring until silence, then the screen showed a text. Chairman Wellington had apparently given up other hopes and gone straight to groveling. But I had long prepared for this moment. From my safe, I retrieved a thick file, every financial transaction between Chen Corporation and Wellington Industries over the past 5 years. Every contract, every secret deal. More importantly, I had Marcus's father's signed confession from 3 years ago, admitting to tax evasion and bribery to secure the engagement. The phone rang persistently. I finally answered. Ens Chen, I beg you, stop this madness. Marcus is young and foolish, but Wellington Industries employs thousands of people. You can't destroy so many livelihoods over personal grievances. I laughed softly. Chairman Wellington, business is business. Chen Corporation makes investment decisions based on risk assessment. There's nothing to blame. As for your son and Ms. Mitchell, the law will give them a fair answer. Rather than begging me, you'd better find a good lawyer. I hung up without giving him another chance. Clearly Chairman Wellington wasn't ready to give up. He ran around everywhere. But friends who once called him brother now either avoided him or bluntly said they were powerless to help. Desperate, he charged directly to Chen Corporation headquarters. Security stopped him in the lobby. He lost all composure, screaming at the reception desk, "Let me see Sophia. I must see her. She can't corner Wellington Industries like this." The receptionist awkwardly called upstairs. I sat in my director's chair listening to the commotion through the phone, sipping tea. Lips curling slightly, I turned on the public address system for the first floor reception area. Sound immediately amplified, my voice echoing throughout the lobby. Each word like nails driven into posts. Chairman Wellington, please return. I'm very busy and have no time to handle irrelevant matters. Between Chen Corporation and Wellington Industries, there's nothing left to discuss. The ice, cold statement pierced everyone's ears, plunging the entire lobby into tense silence. Chairman Wellington stood like a lost soul, screaming frantically at the air. Do you really hate Wellington Industries this much? Just because of Marcus alone? I immediately cut him off, my voice so cold it made the entire lobby shiver. Please correct yourself. Everything happening today has nothing to do with whether I hate anyone. This is the price Wellington Industries must pay for its own choices. Please leave. Chairman Wellington stood frozen, his face white as if slapped before hundreds of eyes. Finally he staggered away from Chen Corporation, carrying his rage and fear. Returning home, he roared, throwing his teacup, his shout tearing through the atmosphere. Look what you've done. He could no longer maintain his dignified patriarch facade, just an old man panicked by total loss. For that woman Luna. Destroying yourself wasn't enough, now you want to drag all of Wellington Industries to hell. Marcus was frightened pale by his father's thunderous roar, stammering his defense, Dad. You supported me before, you said if I won I'd win. Chairman Wellington's finger shook with rage pointing at his son. You thought because Sophia loved you, she'd always give in. You thought fake suicide threats and fake depression could force her. Now look, she's really striking back. Wellington Industries is finished. Are you satisfied? What's your precious love worth now? Marcus was scolded into trembling, instinctively turning to Luna for help, but her eyes only dodged awkwardly, her voice small as a mosquito. Uncle, don't be angry. The important thing now is figuring out how to resolve this. Resolve. Chairman Wellington roared, his anger immediately turning on her. How do we resolve this? If you hadn't egged him on, how would Marcus be in this situation? Get out. Get out of the Wellington house immediately. Luna's face alternated between green and white, her whole body rigid, not daring to resist, only hanging her head in awkward shame. Marcus watched this scene, his father's unprecedented fury, Luna's retreat bit by bit, his heart sank to icy depths. Meanwhile, Partners who had been hesitant and small enterprises dependent on Wellington Industries saw this situation and rushed to cut ties. Some even took the opportunity to deliver fatal blows, directly seizing the market share Wellington Industries had just lost. Wellington Industries' capital chain was completely severed. The towering commercial empire collapsed at a speed no one expected, so fast that everyone could clearly witness a fortress crumbling in an instant. Marcus's world was also turned upside down from that moment. Luxury apartments, supercars, designer watches, extravagant spending habits, everything existed only in memory. He was forced to sell off everything piece by piece, barely maintaining his lifestyle. But what he couldn't bear even more was how people's gazes changed from admiration and flattery to mockery and pity. Luna's situation was even more miserable. In academia and research institutes, reputation is the most precious asset. Everything she had previously obtained through Wellington connections and resources instantly became a double-edged sword. Rumors that she was a power-hungry flatterer with dishonest methods and hollow academic achievements spread everywhere. Projects were suspended, authority revoked. Everywhere she went people pointed and whispered. When poor couples face 100 sorrows, moreover they had never had solid feelings between them to begin with. The two began constant quarreling, blaming each other. Marcus resented Luna for seducing him, just wanting to climb higher, ultimately dragging him into the mud. Luna despised his incompetence, unable to maintain their support, making her the laughingstock of the world. Two dogs biting each other, ultimately left with nothing but ruin. Luna screamed, her face contorted. "You're truly useless, can't even beat one woman, worthless." In one fierce argument, Marcus couldn't contain himself either, roaring with a hoarse voice. "It's all because of you. If you hadn't interfered and ruined my relationship, there might still have been a place for me in Yi's heart. I wouldn't be in this state." Luna immediately tore off her gentle mask, glaring and snarling, "Hi. You were greedy, on one hand unable to give up the Chen family's power and wealth, on the other wanting to find validation with me. Living off Sophia's resources, enjoying her support, while still wanting to play the lovesick fool beside me. When the truth was exposed, you only knew how to blame others, you coward. But life never shows mercy." Before long, Luna's academic scandals were anonymously sent to authorities and her research institute. Crystal clear evidence: plagiarized research papers, falsified data, secret funding from Wellington Industries. Everything was investigated. This meant complete career termination. Even facing legal litigation, Luna collapsed, locking herself in her room, eyes red with madness, screaming at Marcus, "It's her, definitely Sophia. That woman wants to kill us both." Marcus looked at the hysterical woman before him, at their now desolate and cold home, feeling only utter disgust. Finally he understood that everything he had gambled on was just an empty illusion. Wellington Industries officially declared bankruptcy. Luna was dismissed from her research institute, awaiting trial. Chairman Wellington fell seriously ill from the consecutive shocks, unable to recover. Desperate, Marcus abandoned all dignity, repeatedly trying to reach Chen Corporation headquarters to see me. Once he even knelt in the lobby, crying pitifully, slapping himself repeatedly, his voice hoarse. "Wei, I was wrong. Forgive me, give me one chance." From the floor, to ceiling window on the top floor, I occasionally still saw that huddled figure, small and blurry like his own pitiful shadow. My assistant asked cautiously, "Ms. Chen, should we send someone down to handle this?" I withdrew my gaze, my voice casual as cold water splashed in his face. "No need. He chose his path, so he must bear the consequences himself." After the storm, Chen Corporation not only didn't collapse but became more united, expanding into new markets more smoothly than ever. When the dust settled, I gave myself a vacation. My body and mind had been tense for too long, they finally needed to relax. At the end of a small path was a gentle sandy beach, blue waves lapping, a golden retriever running back and forth anxiously, occasionally looking out to sea and whimpering. It had a collar but no owner in sight. I hesitated, then crouched down near it. "Little guy, did you lose your owner?" I sat down, stroking its soft fur, feeling unexpected warmth spreading. It seemed to understand, whimpering louder and pawing at my hand. "Don't worry, maybe your owner will come looking soon." I spoke softly, my heart strangely peaceful. "Kimbo," a bright male voice called out. The golden immediately perked up its ears, barking excitedly. A man ran over, sitting down to embrace the dog, jumping into his arms. He stood up and walked toward me, showing a sincere, warm smile. "I'm Liam Carter. This little guy just chased a seagull and I carelessly lost track of him. He nearly scared me to death." "Sophia." The golden cooperatively barked again, tail wagging wildly. We just stood by the seaside chatting casually. After that, I occasionally drove to this place. Kimbo was always the first to spot my car, running over happily. Then gradually we would walk slowly along the beach together with Kimbo. It turned out rebirth was just like this. In some unexpected moment, in scenery that seemed familiar yet strange, you meet an unexpected connection that makes you willingly stop your steps. Deception and manipulation ultimately destroy the deceiver. Marcus's downfall illustrates that trying to have everything, keeping one person for security while pursuing another for passion, is unsustainable. His elaborate schemes, fake suicide threats, and public manipulation backfired spectacularly because truth has a way of surfacing. The story shows that authentic relationships require honesty and respect, not calculated performances. When someone repeatedly chooses deception over integrity, they build their life on unstable ground. Eventually, the weight of their lies collapses everything they've constructed. Real love cannot coexist with systematic betrayal and emotional manipulation.